Hey, what's up? Again, this is a bit of a response to Sean McLean's Zaranyzerak. Kind of glad you're doing the Transformers, the movie DVDs now. I see that you have 3 of them, and that's pretty good. I mean, having a UK one, obviously the Blu-ray, and I guess the UK one or region free, I'm not sure. But anyway, you're talking about the different copies of Transformers you have and the transfer quality, and there's no doubt that what you said about the Rhino one is kind of true. It comes straight from the VHS, and that the Sony one is basically right off the film print. And as far as the pink hot rod goes, I think I may have noticed it once or twice in the movie, I'm not really sure. But anyway, as far as Transformers the movie goes, I do have it. I mean, I've had it various times throughout my life. I mean, when the movie came out to theaters, I remember one time I was watching Transformers, and the commercial came on, and I was like, what? I was just turning 7 years old when they started advertising the commercials for the movie. I was still 6 going on 7. And I was like, I had the expression any 6 to 7 year old kid had. I was blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, Transformers on the big screen. And I wanted to see it. And unfortunately my parents did not want to take me to it because at 6, 7 years old, I don't think they felt I was ready for it. And the fact that at the time, PG movies were not very suitable for kids unless they were with a parent. Unless you were with your parent, it wasn't suitable. And you got to remember at this time, from what I understand, unless somebody can correct me on here, PG-13 wasn't being instituted that much at that time. It was PG-13 was still kind of new. It was still very new. I mean, that's why when you see a lot of DVD and Blu-ray releases of movies from that time period, and from that time period and before and a little after, that is why you see G, PG, and R. There was no PG-13 at that time because any PG movie was PG-13. It was basically any PG movie at that time customable or kind of customate for being a PG-13 movie. I mean, basically a PG rating in that time period, and that's kind of hard for me to say, seeing though I'm turning 34 years old this week on Thursday. Wow, it's kind of hard to believe. 34, that was 27 years ago. Wow. Or 28 years ago. But anyway, like I was saying, PG at that time constituted from being for PG-13 because anything from that PG era went from basically stated 7 to 13. That was PG. That was the PG range at that time. And still, and again, this was at a time period, and like I said, kind of hard for me to say, seeing as though that was 27 to 28 years ago, that when you take a look, like I said, the DVD and Blu-ray releases of movies from that time period, and a little after and before, there was no PG-13, and that's what they were kind of talking about in the fan commentary. One of the fan commentaries on the Sony release, there was no PG-13 at that time. There was no PG-13. They had a choice of either PG or R. Yeah. imagine an R-rated animated Transformers movie. I don't think so. I don't think that would have passed. So, anyway, they went with PG. And again, that was constituted for being 7 to 13 years old. So basically, in a sense, it was a PG-13 movie, but under the rating of PG. Had it been released maybe a year or two later, then yeah, it would have been warranted a PG-13 rating. There's no doubt about that. So, because you got to think of it this way. Take a look at the Jaws movies back then. A lot of the Jaws movies were PG. Yeah, a lot of the Jaws movies were PG. Even Gremlins, I think, was PG. What does that tell you? Anyway, though, that's basically why I couldn't go see it. Because basically, even though it was rated PG, it was more along the lines of it was for an older audience. And being a kid at 6, 7 years old, I think my parents knew I probably couldn't handle it at that moment because of the violence and all that. I mean, heck, because of the violence and all that, I mean, when it came out to VHS, and I'll be honest with you, I was very fortunate to be one of the first to get it on VHS. Rent it, that is. I was one of the first to rent it on VHS. I can tell you right now, my parents, like where I'm sitting right now, was sitting at a couch like this. Excuse me. My sisters were sitting on the couch as well, or right under it, sitting under, kind of like sitting down right here. And I was sitting like right over here, like in this position, like right over here. Okay, for example, here's the couch. Here's the couch. Here's my parents sitting on the couch. Here's my sisters here. Here I am, right where this remote is. And this is where the TV was. Here I was, right where this remote is. Kind of get the idea? Anyway, I was right there. I had a big gray pillow, and we were watching it. And I kind of covered my face a little bit when I saw Prime get shot up. Well, not just shot up, but when I saw him die. And my mom said I cried a little bit. Maybe I did. I can't really remember. And if I did, I may have blocked it out of my memories. Hold on for a second. Well, I was just a bird. But like I said, as a kid, I kind of blocked it out of my memories, I guess. Growing up, I kind of blocked it out. If you will. So, that was about it. I blocked it out. And I watched it many more times as well. I rented it a few more times. A neighbor was nice enough to rent it for me when I went with them to what was K Video at the time in Fremont. They rented it for me at that time, so I was happy they did that. Even though I can't remember what age I was, I think it was 8 or something like that. I kind of made a scene a little bit, and that's how I got it. So, looking back on that, was not probably the best decision to do. It was probably not the best thing to do, but even after that, I rented it a couple more times. And then around 89 and 90, doing its, I guess you could say, last season, when it was doing the best of season, KBHK and its sister station out here in the Central Valley were airing the movie on Saturdays. And occasionally on Saturdays, I would check the TV guide, and Transformers would come on between 9 and 9:30. And if I saw Channel 44, which was KBHK, blocked out for saying Transformers, and 9:30 at 9 o'clock, and then 9:30, 10, and 10:30 were all blocked out, there was no listings for KBHK, then I pretty much knew the movie was coming on. And I remember one time I had this big TV. I don't know if it was the average size, a big TV or something like that. It was a black and white one. And I remember we lived in Waterford, and I was in my room, and I was watching the movie in there. I enjoyed it. And then we went, I think even before that, or afterwards, I can't remember, we were in Fremont. I think it was afterwards, I can't remember. We were in Fremont on kind of near a park in what was known as a catwalk. And I remember, like I said, this is actually when I saw that one Saturday where 9 to 11 were all blocked out because of Transformers. And I told my mom about it because I pretty much knew at that time. For some reason, I knew anytime I saw that, the movie was going to be on. I said, the movie's going to come on, the movie's going to come on. I want to watch it, I want to record it. And she said, okay, if you're good in school, you do this and that, you can record it. So I did. I was good in school. I got my grade. I got some good grades at that time. And I think it was like, let's see, first, second, third, fourth. I think I was in the third or fourth grade at the time. I think it was about the fourth grade because that was basically 5 years before I went into ninth grade. So yeah, about fourth grade. I was in fourth grade at the time, and I got to record it. And my sisters were a little upset because because my older sister and my two older sisters, they loved to watch Beetlejuice, the animated series at the time. But my mom said, look, I made him a promise, he could watch it, let him watch it. And so I was able to watch it. The only problem is I missed the first 2 minutes. I missed recording the first 2 minutes of the opening sequence. But I was able to get the rest, and I have it on a VHS tape, which unfortunately I left in Kansas. But because it was on Saturday mornings, it was the edited version. So, anyway, I had that for a while. Then my cousin, who's the same age as my second older sister, he got the movie somehow, and I would occasionally go over to my aunt's when I was bored or something like that and kind of spend time there. There were times they did mind and times they didn't mind. So I was able to watch the movie over there with my cousin Gabrielle. And then afterwards, and then years later, basically, I was watching, when I moved back to Kansas to be with my dad, I watched the Generation 2 version of Transformers, and I think they had the movie on there as well, so I watched it then when I could. And then around 99, I think that's when this was released, 99, 2000, I went into the West Ridge Mall in Topeka, and I think I went into Suncoast or something like that. And I looked down. For some reason, I just had to look. Something told me to go in there, so I just went in there, and I went into this one and I walked past the counter, just a little bit past the counter, and I looked down. Something told me to look down. I looked down at the VHSs, and this was sitting right there. Yeah, this was right there. And I wasn't sure if it was still going to be there or not, so I kind of asked if I could try to get it. My grandma out there was kind enough to lend me the money to get it. And so I went into Suncoast. Back into Suncoast, it was still there. And I ended up getting this VHS copy. I don't know if it's the same one or if it's a different one or what, but I ended up getting a VHS copy of this. I think this is the one I got from Hastings, but I did end up getting another copy that did not say Special Collector's Edition because it was like, actually this did say Special Collector's Edition. I can't really remember. Yeah, I think it did. I think this is the one I did get from Suncoast. I think this is the one I got from Suncoast. I can't really remember because I think I had two of them, one without it and one with it. So I don't know if the one without it was from Suncoast. But what was strange about the VHS that I got, like I said, I don't know if it was this one or the one without. What was strange about it is It was the UK version. Yeah, it was the UK version. How do I know? The Star Wars scroll. I'm not lying. Like I said, I don't know if it's this one or if it's another one that I got, but it was the Star Wars. I think it might be this one, I'm not sure, but it was the Star Wars scroll that was on there. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be a special collector's edition. I wonder what's special about it. Well, I found out what was special. It's the UK version. That's what it was. Because I don't know, like I said, I can't remember if it's this one or I had another one. I can't remember. I think it might have been this. Like I said, I can't remember. But actually, when I think about it, I think it was this. But like I said, the reason it was special collector's edition, it was the UK intro and everything. And I'm thinking, what the heck? You know. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to get the DVD, right? Well, down the line, I moved to Kansas. I move on my own, and I end up buying at Hastings the UK version, which is unedited, just like this version is, I think. It's UK and everything. Got a little slip thing in there for Battle of the Planets, and then there's the listing and all that. And when I put this in, it basically lived up to what it said. It was unedited. In other words, it was exactly as I remember it. You know, the intro, the way I remember and all that. So, like I said, I don't know why they put the UK version on the VHS and called it an VHS version. Like I said, I don't know if it was this one or the one without the bar. I can't really remember. But I think it might have been this one. But again, like I said, yeah, it had the UK version on it. The UK intro, so it was very interesting. But the biggest difference, as you can see, both same cover, same back cover, except for all that. And again, the difference is the VHS had the UK intro. I think maybe both of them did. I'm not really sure. But the DVD version did not. So Rhino obviously corrected themselves on that. And this was the Kid Rhino release. It says Kid Rhino Home Entertainment Home Video. And this just says Rhino. But it says Kid Rhino on the back. So obviously they fixed it on the DVD, but not on the VHS. And like I said, I don't know if the Special Collector's VHS is the one that has it, or if it's the other one that I had and I think I sold back to Hastings for some money. Well, during that time though, I had that for a while. I think I had that up until, and for a while I had the DVD version. This was the only DVD version I had. For a while. And in between obtaining this and obtaining this, in between that, I also obtained, if I can get it, I also obtained this. And you know where I found this? At a Borders. Now, my case is somewhere. I gotta find it. My Transformer case is somewhere. I just gotta find it. But yeah, I obtained the case. Like I said, it's somewhere. But I obtained this courtesy of my grandma. My grandma would usually go to town like she still currently does, and at times she would actually, if you asked her in advance, she would actually get you what you were asking for. So I asked her if they were going to stop by Borders and all that. But was it Borders? No, it was Barnes & Noble. That's what it was. Barnes & Noble. Well, I spotted this and asked if they could stop in there. And get it for me. And if not, that was okay. Well, surprisingly, she got it for me. She got me the soundtrack. And I don't know if I can't remember if I told her it might not be there after a while. So she got me the soundtrack, and this is actually the CD release of the soundtrack. This is the 1980. This is the CD release of the soundtrack. Now I know, Sean, you have the vinyl release, which you're very lucky to have. You're very lucky to have that, so that's pretty cool. But this is the CD version, so that's just as good. And I think they do. I think some people are trying to sell the vinyl version as well. And then this year, it's the same thing. I call it the special edition. This is something I made myself. But this is basically the same thing. It's the soundtrack, along with the movie's original score. That's right, the original score done by Vince DiCola. My cousin Xavier had gotten the score somehow, and I don't know if he gave it to me. He gave me a copy when I got back here, or he mailed it to me, or something. I think he may have mailed it to me when I was in Kansas. I can't remember. But basically, it was the entire score. Everything. From Unicron's theme, Death of Optimus Prime. Well, Death of Optimus Prime was already in the soundtrack. But everything. From the Autobot Decepticon, from the Decepticon attack, all that. Everything was in there. Every score. So that was pretty cool. That was really, really cool to have that as well. And I have the DVDs, not the DVD, but I have the CD somewhere in my room. I just got to find it. But that was pretty cool. And what I did, like I said, I went on the computer and just made one with like songs and some of the score as well. So there you go. It's pretty cool. And then, after a while, I ended up waiting a little bit more. After a while, after having all that, I waited, and then the announcement came in 2006 that they were releasing Transformers the movie on DVD again, and it was Sony that was doing it. And that it was going to be a better release, or re-release. It was going to be a better edition, because it was the 20th anniversary of the movie. It was going to basically be better, uncut. Everything was going to be better. Well, fortunately, at that time, I had just gotten back about a month. It was basically about a month later after I got back from Kansas. Or actually 20-something days after. I mean, not Kansas, but back from California. And I applied at Walmart online, and within that day of applying online, within that same day, I got hired. I got called down to go get interviewed, and I got hired. So, basically, about a week or two after the interview, and after I was working, one of the managers that used to work there was kind enough to go on the first Monday evening I was working there. Because we would do basically 2 to 11 or something like that. And any time on a Monday, a lot of us would stay behind to get whatever the midnight releases would be. So, one day I was looking down at the shelves because they were always emptying the shelves to putting different price tags for different releases that were coming in, new releases. They were basically emptying certain shelves, putting certain DVDs and stuff elsewhere, and they would, in their place, they would put a new price tag as well as what the movie would be. So I remember looking down one time, and one of the price tags said Transformers the movie. And I was like, holy crap. And I think maybe also I saw it in a box back there in the back area, because I was on a loader at the time, so we got to look into some of the boxes to see maybe what was what. And I looked down into one of the boxes in the back area, and there was a box load of Transformers. So the manager was kind enough to go back there and get the box with the Transformers, because that's also was being released. So he goes back there and gets the movie, and he hands me this copy with the lithium cover, or alternate cover, as you could see, and the movie itself. Yeah. I got this at a midnight release at Walmart when I was working for them, and discounted as well, so that was pretty cool. So that was nice to get this with the lithium cover. And I was actually kind of glad to get it. I actually watched it when I got home that night, before I went to bed. And if that's not all, to coincide with the 20th anniversary release of this, if you will, to coincide with it, also was released by Legacy and Volcano, was the 20th anniversary edition of the soundtrack. That's right. 20th anniversary of the soundtrack, which has all the songs, including bonus tracks. It has all 10 all 10 tracks from the original track, including for bonus tracks, Unicorn's Melody, Moonbase 2 Shuttle Launch, Megatron Must Be Stopped Parts 1 and 2, the Transformers alternate version by Stan Bush and Vince DiCola. And they say tracks 11 to 14 were at the time commercially unavailable. Try telling that to some people that got them off torrents. Anyway, here's the booklet, and actually shows you how it was originally released, like that, which I showed you. Right there, pretty cool. And then on the back, and of course you have the CD, little space in the background on the back cover, and then of course you have the CD with Unicron on there. It's pretty nice. But that's not the only thing as well. I also have, let me see how much time I have on here. I may have to stop this, but I'll be back in part 2. Hold on.